When I first stumbled upon the old lake, it was little more than a forgotten swamp. The water was murky. Algae stretched across the surface, and the once proud dock had collapsed into a mess of splintered wood. But where most people saw a useless patch of water, I saw potential. My family had always loved fishing, boating, and the quiet serenity that came with sitting near open water. So I did what no one else was willing to do. I bought the lake. The paperwork was long and the negotiations even longer, but when the deed finally landed in my hands, I felt a surge of pride. That lake was mine legally and fully. I rolled up my sleeves and began the restoration process. With the help of a few contractors and my own determination, I drained part of it, cleaned out decades of trash, reinforced the banks, and restocked it with healthy fish. It wasn't easy or cheap. Every spare dollar went into making the lake beautiful again. But after months of hard work, it shimmered under the sun like a natural gem. It quickly became the crown jewel of my property. My kids fished there on weekends. My wife loved setting up picnics near the water, and I even invited a few neighbors to enjoy the new dock. For me, it wasn't just about owning the lake. It was about bringing something back to life that had been left for dead. But as with most good things, someone had to try and ruin it. And that someone was Karen, the head of the local HOA. I first saw her standing at the edge of the dock one afternoon, hands on her hips, sunglasses perched on her face like a badge of authority. "This lake belongs to the community," she announced without even bothering to introduce herself. "You can't just buy it." I laughed, thinking she was joking. Actually, I did buy it. Got the deed and everything. The community didn't want to take care of it, remember? That's why it was abandoned. Her lips tightened. Regardless, it's always been considered part of the neighborhood amenities. You can't deny families the right to use it. That's when I realized this wasn't just a misunderstanding. This was a power play. The HOA had ignored the lake for years, letting it rot into a swamp. But now that it was beautiful again, they wanted it back. I shook my head firmly. "Sorry, but it doesn't work like that. This is private property now. If you want to use it, you'll need permission." Karen didn't like that answer. Not one bit. Within days, I started receiving violation notices from the HOA, slipped under my door, taped to my gate, even mailed to my house. They listed nonsense like unauthorized modification of community land and restriction of community access. Every notice ended with a demand: restore public access to the lake or face legal consequences. At first, I ignored them. After all, I knew the law was on my side. But then things escalated. One morning, I woke up to find a group of HOA board members having a meeting on my dock, acting like it was theirs. Another time, I caught teenagers, egged on by their parents, swimming in the lake without permission, leaving trash on the banks. Karen had clearly spread the word that the HOA owned the lake and that I was trying to keep it from them. But what she didn't know was that I had been documenting everything from the start. Photos of the condition of the lake before I bought it, videos of the restoration process, copies of every official deed and survey. I wasn't just ready for a fight. I was prepared to bury their false claims. The tipping point came when the HOA filed a formal complaint with the county. They accused me of stealing community land and illegally privatizing a natural water source. They demanded the county return the lake to HOA control. When I got the notice, I smiled. They had no idea how badly they had overplayed their hand. At the county hearing, Karen strutted in with her board members, speaking as though she were the rightful owner. "This man has taken something that belongs to all of us," she said dramatically, pointing at me like a villain in a courtroom drama. "He has no right to deny us access to the lake." The county officials listened patiently, then turned to me. I calmly pulled out my folder of documents and laid them on the table. "Here's the original deed showing the lake was foreclosed on by the bank. Here's the sales agreement, signed and notarized. Here's the updated survey showing the lake is entirely within my property boundaries. And here," I added, sliding over a stack of photos, "is what the lake looked like before I bought it. The HOA had every opportunity to maintain it but chose not to. Now that I've restored it, they want to claim ownership." Silence filled the room as the officials reviewed the evidence. Finally, the county commissioner looked up. "This case is clear. The lake is private property, legally purchased and maintained. The HOA has no claim here." Karen's jaw practically hit the floor. She tried to argue, but the commissioner shut her down. "If the HOA continues to trespass or harass this property owner, they will face fines and possible legal action." It was over. The HOA had lost. But the story didn't end there. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood, and suddenly the homeowners who had blindly followed Karen weren't so loyal anymore. Many of them came to me privately, apologizing for the trespasses and admitting they were misled. Others turned on Karen, furious that she had wasted their HOA dues on a legal fight they could never win. At the next HOA election, Karen was voted out of her position in disgrace. As for me, I doubled down on securing the lake. I posted clear signs, installed cameras, and made it known that while I might occasionally invite respectful guests, trespassing was no longer tolerated. My family enjoyed the lake in peace again, and every time I sat on the dock watching the sunset, I felt a surge of pride knowing I had stood my ground. Karen thought she could bully me into submission, but she learned the hard way that entitlement doesn't beat evidence, and HOA intimidation doesn't hold up. Against the law, the lake belongs to me now, and it always will. If you've ever dealt with an overreaching HOA or a Karen who thought they could control what wasn't theirs, let this story be your reminder. Stand firm, know your rights, and don't let intimidation win. Property ownership means something. And when you defend what's yours, justice has a way of shining brighter than any HOA's false authority.